This week on MultiGP News, the regional series wrapping up in Massachusetts, Nevada, and Colorado over the weekend. Find out the top pilots who qualified, plus a full recap of the race.
Then, he just beat a case against the FAA over drone registration. Find out why this drone hobbyist says the fight's not over.
And it's a hot topic in FPV, digital versus analog video. Why some pilots prefer one over the other. What's up, everyone? I'm Chris Thomas.
And I'm Frank Realized Mainade, and I'm not wearing any pants.
There you are. All this and much more coming up right after the break.
Once upon a time in the West. Sure sounds like a fairy tale. Go on and ask the contenders. They'll tell you it's more like a nightmare. Best regional we've ever seen. Could be. Shoot, you want to reach the promised land? You'll have to go through the young guns. The wild bunch. The bad company. An outlaw. Lot of true grit. Meanwhile, down in Texas, there's a Lone Star. Maverick. And a few Silverados that ain't done yet. Surviving the good, the bad, and the ugly. This, my friends, is MultiGP Regional Series. The road to the National Championship begins here.
Live from the MultiGP headquarters, this is MultiGP News.
Welcome back, everyone. Let's get started with our top stories in this week's Morning Quad. Joe Nall week coming to an end, and we're still recovering from the event.
Yeah, we are. Man, you guys at Drone School, you're rowdy, for sure.
That's right. Make sure you check out that Drone School episode. It's pretty cool. You should see all the fun times we had on the bus. Cody, we had Johnny Share, we had Willard on there. Got into some big-time shenanigans. And,
yeah, by the way, congrats to Johnny and Nick. They did really good on the UTT2 course. Not the top spot, but definitely up there. Milk is still our reigning champion on UTT2.
She's still milking it.
Yeah. We have a new frequency profile. This is a U.S. legal setup for 6 pilots without the need for alternating left and right-hand antennas. We're calling it the IMD 6C schedule. It's raceband 1 and 2, Fat Shark channel 2-4, then raceband 7 and 8. If you do not have an alternating left-hand and right-hand channel or set up with your antennas, this is the way to go if you're looking to run that. Make sure in the U.S. you avoid E4, E7, and E8, which these are not frequencies which you're allowed to use here.
It's going to be great for races. Make them a lot smoother, make them easier to run. People
Absolutely.
won't have to worry about alternating antennas so much anymore.
Well, and speaking of that, you know, in a couple of months, we're planning to do something that's never been done before. We have a very ambitious plan. It's the MultiGP International Open. Tickets are about to go on sale. Most of the time, I've been to events where they have a difficult time running one track with 8 pilots.
Yeah.
At this event, we're going to run 8 tracks simultaneously with 8 pilots. So at any one moment, there could be 64 pilots up in the air.
Wow.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
We want it to be set up to where if you like FPV, no matter your skill level, whether you're beginning, whether you're a professional, you can go here, you can meet other pilots, and you can have an absolute blast. So if you don't go to this event, it's going to be the event you're going to always sit there and go, man, I wish I would have gone. It's going to be the Woodstock of FPV.
And MultiGP is starting to expand internationally. The 2017 Latin American Drone Racing Championship is going down in Medellin, Colombia in November. The series, spearheaded by Angela Jaquez of FPV Racing Mexico, bringing nearly 150 pilots from all over Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. The Latin American Championship mimics the MultiGP Regional Series held in the U.S. The race will begin by having 12 individual countries holding their respective national championships and having the winners battle it out in Medellin for a chance to be crowned the MultiGP Latin American champion.
That means they can dance really good.
Yeah. So we'll have to call them Shawnee et Kelara.
What does that mean? Yeah, I got it. I had to translate it in my brain. I think in English it's a little bit difficult.
Pilots are used to hunting for bogeys, but not quite like this. Mini drones and mini golf colliding thanks to Northern Virginia Radio Control, or NVRC. The group, which started as a haven for RC fans in the 60s, is now an official MultiGP chapter. Last month, they held their first official MultiGP race inside Monster Mini Golf in Chantilly, Virginia. The 9 pilots who took part loving the backlit course and LED gates. NVRC planning to host mini golf races every other Wednesday night.
That's pretty cool. Before we move on to our next segment, we just want to personally thank the sponsors of Joe Nall. We had Drone Racing Supply. Josh and his team were out there. Those guys were great. Really appreciate their support for this event. Fat Shark and Connex, we had a great time with them and their booth that they had there. T-Motor, Racecraft for sending some prizes. Atmospheric Adventures, who's always supporting us and making it a great time. And of course, our friends and partners at Emax, JD and other Brandon coming out and really helping out. They even helped us tear down at the end. We appreciate it. We couldn't do this without their support. Also, hello to Birdie and Matt. We had fun with you guys out there. Thanks for showing us around.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. And Drone School really appreciated it too. We'll see you on the next episode.
Now moving on to our regional series. The competition kicked up a notch among pilots over the weekend.
Chapters from Region 1A, 6B, and 6C all held qualifiers. MultiGP News breaks down all the racing action.
Roll it.
The regional series is getting into full stride, and for those pilots who want to make the regional finals, it's time to roll the dice. Let's begin in Las Vegas. The LV Droners Club hosted their 3rd qualifier for Region 6B.
So it's a 2-minute practice round. You get 2 rounds. We are going in the order of round 1.
It was a beautiful day in the desert without a cloud in the sky to ruin the race. Pilots pushed for the dozen-lap mark, with top pilots scoring a Sweet 16. This weekend, 9 more pilots earned their spot in the finals. Winning first place and taking home a $200 top prize was Levi Leviathan FPV Dixon.
The fastest man on the course that I have seen, totaling up 16 laps, receiving $200. Wow. Leviathan FPV.
Rounding out the top 3 were Quang Q Tran and Harrison Professor XDC Gale. Your other qualifiers were Lester Fast Gixler LV, Manny Arknabbit Acera, Chris Stix FPV Fame, William Billy Ho Tompkins, Jeff Caladrone Payne, and Hilgard Hill Quarabin.
Alright, we got some fresh props. Ready to rock. Here we go.
Moving up into the mountains, some of the country's fastest pilots are setting the bar high in Region 6C. Aurora Parker Denver FPV Rotorcross bringing the heat for the Region's 2nd qualifier. And it brought out some big names as well.
Oh dude, you must have crashed pretty hard in that race-off. Oh man, what do you think about that, Christian?
Nearly 3 dozen pilots competed on a big and very technical course. Several tying at the top with 15 laps, and only 1 pilot, Chase Freefall Hartman, hitting 16 laps. He was one of the 8 pilots that day to qualify. The other 7 pilots were Jordan Jet Temkin, Christian No Diva Avedon, Timothy Sky Ichiasu, Seth Poison Pilot Parker, Travis Mocha McIntyre, Jacob Ghost Falcon Haddon, and Brett Rocky Mountain RC Bixler. And now we head to the northeast to wrap it up in Region 1A. Boston Multirotor and the Wingbusters joining forces for the 3rd qualifier of the region. In fitting Boston fashion, this race was held inside a baseball stadium.
Here they come. Here they come.
5 more pilots earned their ticket to the regional finals later this summer in Beantown. Your 5 pilots were Richard Rambozo Kennedy, Jim Reality Check FPV Thompson, Anthony Toro FPV Garcia, Kevin Crazy Eyes Pratt, and Alex Nolo FPV Vargas. Congratulations to all those pilots who qualified.
And 3 more qualifiers kicking off this weekend, 2 in Idaho and 1 in Alabama. Check back here on MultiGP News next week for a full recap. Coming up next, it's our feature story of the week. We'll hear about this insurance attorney from Maryland who became a symbol of the drone liberty overnight.
And digital versus analog video. Some prefer both, others stick to one. The features that make it a deal breaker for these pilots. Plus, coming up are Crash of the Week.
Crash of the Week.
What's up, everybody? Reese Dockhand here. A lot of guys might not know me because I'm always behind the camera trying to make you guys famous. You know, my team and the MultiGP News have been working countless hours trying to give you the regional updates. Well, we got some hot new news on the national championship coming right after this break. Are you, what? This just in, Chris Thomas just called. 2017 National Championships is going to be at the Reno Air Races. Get ready, everyone, because it's going down.
Now, a drone hobbyist took the FAA to court and ended up winning.
MultiGP News had a chance to sit down with John A. Taylor. Hear why he says it's only the beginning of the battle.
It has been a lot of work, but I think it's all worth it. I mean, the model aircraft community is a great bunch of people. They really are. I mean, they're unique.
It's a story that's been sweeping the drone community. John A. Taylor, a model aircraft enthusiast, winning a case against the FAA over drone registration.
It was certainly, the timing of it was a surprise too. I wasn't really expecting to get a decision until later in the summer. And I think a lot of people had followed the case, but nobody was really holding out a lot of hope for it.
As a young boy, Taylor had a passing interest in radio-controlled planes. Flying drones and model aircrafts only became a recreational hobby for him in the last 2 years.
I had owned basically toy ready-to-fly planes and some static line planes when I was a kid, but I didn't really have that much involvement in it, a couple of helicopters. But then when drones became popular, that sort of piqued my interest as it did for a lot of people. And at sort of the beginning of 2015, I think it was actually Christmas 2014, I bought actually one of those, I use this as a prop a lot. But
On December 21st, 2015, a new FAA database came online requiring all pilots of model aircrafts, drones, fixed-wing planes, and other UAVs under 55 pounds to register their craft with the federal government. This included hobbyists or people who flew just for fun.
Like a lot of people, I think it came out in October, was it, of 2015 that they announced that they were going to do the registration? Correct. And, like everybody else, it struck me as being, swatting a housefly with a hammer. There wasn't really a significant enough problem. It was all hysteria. And I was disappointed to see the federal government respond to the hysteria by, amping up the hysteria. It just didn't seem to be warranted. It also didn't seem like it was going to work. It's sort of like telling everybody, everyone has to wear a big number so that when anybody commits a crime, we've got that number on them. It's like, well, the people who are going to commit crimes are not going to wear the numbers.
Taylor believed the new registration rule was blatantly illegal, contradicting a previous law, Section 336 of the FAA Modernization and Reform Act of 2012. That law stating the federal agency could not promulgate any rule or regulation regarding a model aircraft if the aircraft is flown strictly for hobby or recreational use. Less than a month after the FAA rolled out with the registration rule, Taylor walked into the U.S. Court of Appeals and sued the FAA. His aim? Getting the registration requirement thrown out and the online registry taken down.
I went ahead and filed and pointed out that there were various things that they had done that were a little fishy about this. First of all, they were burying what's called a legislative rule. In other words, it has a mandate. They were requiring or prohibiting something. They buried it in an advisory circular. So I tried to make that argument as to why I had good cause to file it late, and the court didn't buy it. I filed a second action that was filed, I think, in August, that challenges the creation of 101.41, which is basically recreating 336, the statute within the regulatory structure. But then they also are bringing in any non-conforming devices under Part 107. And so it's a much more complicated case. But part of that, one of the arguments is that by putting us within 101, they are putting us within the actual regulation that creates the no-fly zone around D.C. So it's a second way of attacking basically the same action.
Last Friday, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit struck down the registration requirement for recreational model aircraft users. For Taylor, this was a great win.
And my hope is to make sure we don't have a lot of authoritarian regulations in place that are impossible to get rid of, and that things can just proceed along in a reasonable way.
And next week, we'll introduce you to some pilots in the MultiGP community who are beating the odds when it comes to FPV. When it comes to digital versus analog video, it all boils down to personal preference.
MultiGP News reporter Kelara Mainade spoke with a few top pilots who explain why they prefer one over the other.
It's a hot topic among FPV pilots. Digital versus analog video. Some pilots use both, others are dedicated to using one.
Between digital and analog, I personally, once I've started flying it and really got confident with it, which takes some time, I find myself a much more competent and confident pilot because of the digital signal, not necessarily just the clarity, which comes from, I guess, the HD perspective of it.
Some say digital is by far better than analog, and others claim both versions have positive and negative features.
The conic system right out of the box with the stock lens, comparing them in high performance mode, I saw a little bit better picture than my analog setup, but not much.
The screen that they use is much better than, like, say, the Fat Sharks, which everybody has. And even looking at analog video through this, it looks significantly better, but digital, I think digital kind of still blows it away as far as quality. So
I mainly fly the analog ones during the races, unless there is video problems. If there's video problems, I'll bring out my HD quad. If I'm practicing, I'll use the HD quad or the analog quad, just whatever I feel like flying that day. I do prefer the HD quad for the, I can be flying with my buddies and I can use the Pro Sight bands and they can plug in all day long and it won't bother me. Same thing with me. If I'm flying with my buddies, I can plug in while they're flying and I won't affect them. So when you're practicing, the HD quad gets a little bit more used to the other ones for sure.
When it comes to FPV racing, pilots are focused on two main factors: weight and video. Many claim analog holds a lighter weight, whereas others say digital offers better video.
So we were at Maker Faire Austin 2017, and we put on the Drone Circuit HD Invitational. And so we invited 5 pro pilots, and they were all from Texas, but they're all really well known within the MultiGP and other communities. They battled it out for 2 days at Maker Faire, and it was really great to be able to demonstrate the sport and the hobby and what makers can do with drones and drone racing, and not have to focus on anything else.
Still have boot up time with the Connex receiver, so you still have to power it up, make sure it's up and running before you plug in your quad. As far as like video issues with the analog side, what we're doing in our chapter is we're running qualifying heats. So you're going to have the same people in each of your heats. So if you're running 5 rounds of qualifying, you're flying against the same people, because with the format we're running, you're essentially racing against yourself in the clock.
The analog quads are definitely going to be lighter, so it's going to make a faster machine a little bit, depending if you get used to the weight or not. But like my analog machine, my racing machine weighs 265 grams. My HD machine weighs 375 grams.
The future of video transmitters is continually advancing. Pilots hoping these key features for both digital and analog see growth in the future.
And digital right now is so much in its infancy that, I'll be honest, my problem with the digital is I can't figure out what's wrong when there is a problem.
I'm hoping in the next year or so, by the end of the year, I would expect them to drop it, because they've already done one price drop. I'm hoping that they sell like the VTX and camera as a combo for like $150 instead of $200. That'd be really nice.
The AC system is going to get a lot smaller, hopefully a lot cheaper, and that's going to be the future.
In the end, it's straightforward and easy. It all comes down to pilot preference when choosing a video transmitter.
Digital is going to be the future. It's so much easier from a race director's standpoint, because there's almost nothing they need to do for management. It's just, the pilot just sets up and goes.
I think you're going to see more pilots shifting that direction. We do have a lot of pilots here in Vegas shifting that direction. Do I think it's going to completely obliterate the analog market? No. Because you're still going to have people that want to run analog. Because the more people that shift over to the digital side, the analog people aren't going to have the breakup anymore, because they don't have somebody interfering with their signal.
So if you have a story or an idea you would like us to know, please email us at news@multigp.com.
Coming up after the break, time to annihilate a quad.
Or a MacBook Pro.
Huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
We might get to see a quad smash into a MacBook Pro. We'll see who holds up the best.
That's okay. That doesn't sound like a very good idea, to be honest with you. I think maybe we should rethink this whole thing. If it's a good MacBook, we can put it to use. We need editing gear around here.
Well, I just hate Macs. You know what I mean? What can I say? I'm a PC guy.
No, you're not. You have a Mac. Don't you have a Mac?
Shh. Don't say that.
Stick around. Welcome back, everyone. I've got to say, it's my favorite part of the show obliterating a quad in our Crash of the Week.
So
Is it your favorite part of the show?
It's my favorite part of the show every time. Love
You know, I like it the most because it means we're almost done.
Yeah. Yeah, when you see that in the script, it's
Yeah.
like, yes, score.
Because it seems to get longer, right? Is this getting longer?
I don't know, man. But
It's getting longer. I mean, it's worth it. It's worth it for our fans.
yeah, they love it.
We do it for the fans.
Yeah, they love seeing you.
They do?
That's the guy.
I don't know. I was looking at the views and they seem to be higher. Just like in
And
Rotor Riot.
Chris Thomas's phone number
Riot.
is. Give him a call if you have any questions. You know, anything has to do with lap sync or how to change your channel. You know, he loves answering that. This week, we get to see a high-speed collision when a quad slams into a MacBook Pro laptop. For some high-tech geeks, this may be hard to watch, so viewer discretion is advised. Roll that beautiful beam footage.
Now, that crash was magnificent.
Or was
you know,
magnificent.
That's terrible. That's terrible. It's funny, but it's still terrible. So that's all the time we have for this episode of MultiGP News. Remember, if you want your crash featured on an upcoming episode, send your video to news@multigp.com. You can send other things that might make it on the news. Make it a challenge between you and your friends to see who can get cool stuff on the news. The better you edit it, the less work we have to do. So send it really nice and packaged, and maybe eventually we won't even have to do this show anymore.
Yeah, make sure it's not 3 pages either, because Chris is not going to read it.
Nope. Well, or you start off with something interesting to get me to read the next, you know?
Also, we're aiming to reach 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
For a chance to win some cash and prizes.
For a chance to win some cash and prizes.
We'll see you next week on MultiGP News.
And make sure you hit that little bell on your YouTube so you get those notifications. Thanks for watching. I'm Frank Mainade.
And I'm Chris Thomas, but you probably already knew that. Thanks for joining us, and see you next time. The International Open. We got more to say about the International Open. There's going to be 8 tracks, but it's not going to be 8 of the same tracks.
It's going to be 8 different
There's
tracks.
going to be a freestyle course for all those who like to do flippy floppies.
Are you kidding me?
There's going to be wing racing for people who like to fly wings. There's going to be this new race. Okay, get it. 2 teams of 4 pilots. One guy scores the points. He gets 4 points a lap. One guy's on offense. He gets 2 points a lap. 2 guys defense, 1 point a lap. 2 teams going the opposite way on the course.
What?
So if you're the guy who only gets 1 point per lap, you want to take out the other team guy who gets 4 points a lap, right? That's why there's the offense and the defense.
My mind just exploded.
It's going to be amazing. There's going to be team racing out there. There's going to be 3 different running UTT tracks for 5 days.
What?
5 days. There's going to be a competition where I hold one side of the remote, you hold the other side of the remote, and we fly one quad together as a team. There's going to be a racing for rookies. So like if you're a beginner and you don't want to race the pros, there's a place for you.
Oh my God.
If you don't go to this event, you don't like FPV, you don't like freedom, you don't like America, even if you're not from America, you don't like whatever country you're from, but if you're from America, for sure America, you got to go.
It's going to be insane because my head just
It's on
exploded.
August 9th to August 13th. So if you go to your boss, there's a human resources department, say, excuse me, I'm going to have the flu August 9th through August 13th. It's going to be at the AMA headquarters, the same place that epic race last year for the championships was held. 1,200 acres of FPV madness. It's going to be awesome. So there's going to be a link to buy tickets on Eventbrite. You'll be able to buy a ticket for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, or 5 days. There's a discount by buying the ticket early. It's going to include, having power out at the venue, tons and tons of flying, all kinds of contests and prizes, and you are not going to have a problem getting in the air at this event. Not at all. You will get plenty of packs. You'll probably leave with everything broken, and you'll be super happy.
Oh, don't forget spec racing.
Spec racing as well. There's so many races, I can't even remember all the races. Like, my brain has run out of races to remember.
It's like 8 tracks, but it's really like 800.
Yeah, like 8,000.
Yeah.
You're going to meet all the great pilots. I've already talked to Shawn Taylor, for those of you who are Shawn Taylor fans. He says he's going to be there. Jordan Temkin and the Big Whoop guys are going to be there. It is going to be an amazing party. If you don't like to have fun, then you should not go.
Yeah, because you're just going to miss everything.
If you like to have fun, you should go. Our friends at Drone Schooled will probably be there in a bus doing weird stuff. You're going to hear all kinds of chaos. At about 4 in the morning, you'll probably see someone standing on the top of the bus screaming at the top of their lungs. If it's anything like Joe Nall. So here's the recap of Joe Nall. Me and my friend Joe Scully, we set up out at Joe Nall, and we showed a lot of these traditional modelers what drone racing was all about. And I'd have to say, I think they liked it. I really do. The reception was great. We had a lot of people come over and just sit and watch. Several of the pilots who were there to fly 3D ended up racing FPV and doing really well. The way it was set up is up front there was a UTT track. So through the day you would come out, you would run the UTT, you would set a good UTT time, and we would qualify you for races in the evening. In the evening, after you got to the backside of UTT2, you would connect into another part of the course. So it made for a larger course. We called it the inside and the outside course. We also did night racing out there. We took some LED gates out, did some night racing, and karaoke. We were fun. Idan from Connex, he knows how to have a good time. That guy was a blast on karaoke.
Manny FPV Fever?
Oh yeah. He dropped an elbow. I saw him do a wrestling elbow drop right on Reese's back. It was amazing.
Bobby Boucher was out there, the water boy. We don't even know where he came from. He just came yelling out of one corner. And
it was awesome.
There was bodies flying through the air.
And Dietrich, who's a new member of the crew, he's a bus driver. I've never hung out with a bus driver. Bus drivers are cool.
And he got to fly the Connex for the first time.
Flew the
and
Connex?
he flew it around the track.
He also, on the solo wheel, so David Moquet, who's the light track's godfather, right? He is a master of the solo wheel. I just aim to be as good as that guy. Yeah. Dietrich, the bus driver, immediately was a ninja like that. I couldn't believe it. So Moquet, you've got another Jedi on your level of riding the solo wheel.
That's right. Better watch out for the big D.
If you like this video, press the like button below, and please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in being showcased in the next episode of MultiGP News, please contact us at news@multigp.com.